Hey, we're back again, showing up on camera at the start as required, sort of. But, anyways, now it's time for the monthly electricity demand levels updates for countries that provided such data, at least that is. PayPal, Patreon, YouTube, super buttons, everything's all down below if you want to support me, and we do so if you actually can. So, going down the list now, starting with the largest electricity consumer in present day, which is China, now up to a point of consistently averaging over a terawatt of demand load across their grid at any given moment. They themselves alone comprising roughly a third of the total electricity usage in the world. Their demand levels in general, apart from increasing over the previous year, would trend upwards as you head towards summer. They're one of the countries that peaks in demand level in summer. However, for the past couple of months, China has actually been going back downwards as they've been really trying to reduce their electricity usage in the face of the Iran war and the massive supply disruptions. They've been trying and succeeding to reduce their electricity demand by more than 3%, because 3% is about the amount of their grid that relies on natural gas fired power plants, and they get a lot of their natural gas as LNG imports from Qatar and the Persian Gulf. For the breakdown on not just theirs, but many other nations, close to 100, I think I managed to get into that video, their power grids, what percentage of their electricity comes from what as of this year. You can go see a video linked in the corner or just look that up on the channel. And if you want those graphs or the graphs used in these videos or to see any hundreds of other all kinds of graphs across all kinds of different subjects, all of that stuff is always available in the Drive folder linked in the description. But anyways, before the Iran war started, China's electricity demand was at 1.12 terawatts. And since then, in the 2.5 months or close to 3 months following, their demand, instead of starting to go upwards as we head towards summer, has gone down deliberately and is down at 1.03 terawatts as of most recently. The US in present day, usually around 500 or so, heading into the more recent years, trending a little bit above it on overall average, higher in the summer and winter, lowest in the fall and spring, as those are the most temperature neutral months. For the past few weeks through May, the US was averaging around 475 gigawatts of demand load. India continuing to grow quickly, following China upwards with 15 or 20 years of delay, is now up in the 200s with a wide range of fluctuation. They have, over the last few weeks, gotten up to 271, as the monsoon rains have not yet started for this year, and so the crippling heat that they're enduring has not gotten its rain relief yet. Russia, the fourth largest electricity consumer in the world, usually in the lower 100s, getting up a bit over 150 at the higher points of the year, usually in winter. They did not update this time, so their data is about 2 months back now. The latest we had from them was for March, in which they were on their way down and were at 143 gigawatts. Japan is number 5, but they have not updated for a while. Germany is still number 6 for the moment. They used to have a demand level usually around 100, but they've been speedrunning the self deindustrialization process, the one the UK went through, but the UK did it over the course of decades. Germany's done it over the course of less than 1 decade, and they are correspondingly down more in the lower 80s, and usually now. This time in particular, they came in at 85 gigawatts. Brazil is climbing up towards soon averaging 70. This time they came in at 66. Canada failed to update again, so their data is also from a few months back while they were still in colder weather, and they were up at 84, as their demand load is usually highest in winter, and on average, in general, year round, they're roughly around 70. They've kind of plateaued there in present day. South Korea in present day is plateauing off in the 60s. This time they came in most recently at a demand load of 65. France in present day is usually now down into the 50s, formerly being in the 60s. Although at the high points of the year, usually in winter for them, they get up into the upper 60s or around 70. At the low points, they get down into the mid 40s. Like the past few weeks, for example, they were down at 45.5. Although with the sudden heat wave that has jumped onto Europe over the last few days, they will probably spike back up from that. Turkey in present day is up to averaging around 40 or in the lower 40s usually. They were at 40.3 last time. Now, however, they've dropped down a little bit, most recently to 38.1 gigawatts of demand load. Vietnam is up to averaging around 40 now and have come in at their highest average load ever over the past month and a half or so at 43.6. Mexico in present day is also up around 40, and over the course of May, they've been averaging around 48. Indonesia in present day is also up into the 40s and climbing, and most recently they came in just one below Mexico at an average of 47 gigawatts of demand load. The UK, once up in the mid 40s, now down to around 30 on average. They were a few weeks ago down between 27 and 28, but with the heat wave that has suddenly sprung across Europe, they have jumped back up by a few gigawatts, up close to 30, coming in at 29.7. Taiwan in present day averages a demand load of around 30, and this time they came in pretty close to at 30.4. Italy failed to update, so they're a month or two behind, and most recently they were at 28.9, which is close to their usual average. They also average about 30, as does Spain, who came in this time at 31.4 gigawatts of demand load. Australia in present day is close to averaging 30 now, and most recently they came in at 28.4. Thailand is making their way up towards 30. Most recently, they came in at 28.1. Iraq fluctuates by a large margin over the course of the year, like many of the other Persian Gulf nations. You'll see a sudden plunge they had shortly after the start of the Iran war. That was because it was a temporary stoppage of electricity supply from Iran and gas supply from Iran, which Iraq depends on a lot of to generate its electricity. So they did drop from the 20s down to around 14 for a few weeks, but they've jumped back up since then. And most recently, we're at 27 gigawatts of demand. Egypt in present day is up into the mid and now starting to get towards upper 20s, going lower during the cooler months of the year, higher into the upper 20s during the warmer months. Their most recent date, I believe, was from the end of April or the very start of May, and they were just under 23 at 22.9. Just a bit below them, Malaysia most recently came in at 22.5 gigawatts of demand load, and in present day, they have grown up to averaging in the low 20s. Poland usually averages a bit under 20, and most recently, from a month and a half ago or so, they came in at 21.3. Did not get the most recent data from Norway this time, but normally they're around 20 as well, on average, obviously with fluctuations. Sweden also usually right in the same area, and this time they came in at 20.9. Argentina is usually averaging in the upper teens. They came in at 15.3 gigawatts. Kazakhstan has grown up to now averaging around 15 and continuing to climb. Most recently, they came in at 13.9. Netherlands, the Dutch, are averaging usually around 14 or so, and they came in most recently about a month ago or a month and a half ago, slightly up at 15.4. Colombia in present day is now up to averaging about 10, and they came in at 10.02. The Czech Republic is usually averaging around 8. They're starting to inch a bit higher now. Most recently, they came in just under 10 at 9.9. Peru and Chile failed to update. Nigeria is usually now up over 4, closer to 4.5. It's starting to trend. Their most recent numbers from a couple months ago had them at just under 4.1 at 4.08 gigawatts. And Kenya continues steadily climbing, heading towards that 2 gigawatt average threshold. And they this time continued going up from 1.85 up to now 1.88 gigawatts. And that's the last one on the list for this time. So thank you everybody for sticking around and listening. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't already. PayPal, Patreon, and everything are all down there if you want to support me. Only do so if you actually can. All the graphs and everything are in the free to access Drive folder link. There's a link to my cat's YouTube channel in the top pinned comment. May God bless and protect all of you, and I will see you all around next time.